So what we're going to talk about in today's video is transferring an old 401k or an IRA over to an annuity. First, we'll talk about what a 401k is and some rules around that account. Then we'll talk about rules around annuities, and then we'll talk about how the transfer works. So let's begin with an old 401k or annuity, and let's pretend that this is what you have right now. So a 401k is considered a qualified retirement account. Here are some features to that. Firstly, with contributions, they're always made with pre-tax dollars. So what that means is pretend that your annual income is $100,000. That means you are taxed on $100,000. But if you contribute $10,000 to a 401k, and that contribution is considered to be pre-tax money, that means that $10,000 that you contribute to the 401k is not counted against you as taxable income, which means before you contributed the $10,000 to the 401k, your taxable income was $100,000. After you contributed the $10,000 to the 401k, now your taxable income for that year is $90,000. So that will result in a tax deduction for that particular year. You'll pay less income tax this year. Make sense? Cool. So contributions are always made with pre-tax dollars. Now, when it grows tax deferred. So what this means is that as it grows, you do not need to pay any income tax or any type of taxes on the growth. Why it's called tax deferred is because you are deferring or postponing that income tax to a later date. When you eventually begin to pull money from that account, at that time, you'll pay income tax. So it grows tax deferred. Now, when it comes to accessing the money, a lot of people have questions about this because I see this big balance of money in here and I want to be able to use it. Well, if I want to access it before the age of 59 and a half, it is fairly limited. So I've got IRS rules here. If I want to access the money before age 59 and a half or after, I always have to pay income tax on the entire amount that I pull out. Because remember, everything that I paid in was all pre-tax, so I haven't paid tax on that money. All of the growth, I haven't paid tax on it, which means when I pull it out, I've got to pay income tax on the full amount that I pull out each year. So the IRS will always tax me as ordinary income on any money I pull from a 401k. And if I access it before age 59 and a half, then I also have to deal with a 10% IRS penalty, which no one likes. Now, if you said, hey, I just ran into a situation where I need some money here, are there any ways that I can access money in a 401k or an old IRA? The answer is, in many cases, yes. So there's two options right here. First, you'll see many employers will allow you to take a loan from your 401k. Now, how that works is you will have terms, meaning you're going to have an interest rate. You'll have to pay it back over a certain number of years. But if you take a loan against your 401k, let's say it's for $50,000, what happens is when you take $50,000 from your 401k, that $50,000 is no longer earning interest, or if you have it participating in the market, it's outside of the account. However, if you have an interest rate, say of 5%, when you pay that $50,000 loan back with the 5% interest, where do you think the 5% goes? To the institution that holds your 401k? No, it goes back to your account. So you could say, I feel like I'm paying myself interest, because you are. So that's one method which you can access money, but you do have to pay it back. And then the second method is a 72T. Now this is an option that allows you to access typically a small amount of money from a 401k before age 59 and a half. It usually gives you a level payment for a period of 5 years, and the calculation can be complex. There is a really simple calculator. You can actually Google search it. Just type in 72T calculator. You'll need to punch in your age, the 401k balance, and then a reasonable interest rate. I would just punch something in there very conservative, and that'll give you a ballpark of how much you'd be able to pull from that 401k. And again, it would be for 5 consecutive years, that amount that you would receive. So that's how you can access some money from a 401k before age 59 and a half. And then when you hit retirement, let's say at age 60, you say, all right, I want to start to distribute this money now. I want to live on it, because that was the whole point of saving money for retirement. Well, when you live on it, you're going to pay ordinary income tax on that. Pretty simple. Cool. So let's say that's what you have right now. Now let's compare that with what you want in this particular case, an annuity. So why someone would want an annuity here and why they would consider transferring a 401k to an annuity, mainly because it's safe. An annuity is a contract with an insurance company where I am going to have guarantees associated with it, and in many cases, I can protect my principal from loss. So that can be appealing to a lot of individuals. So if I'm going to transfer money from an old 401k, when I say old 401k, I mean it's a 401k with a company that you're no longer working for. If I have a 401k with a current employer, I usually can't transfer that to an annuity. Most employers don't allow that. But let's assume I transfer it, the 401k, to the annuity. There's no tax on the transfer. This is considered either a transfer or a rollover. Now, the growth on an annuity is similar to that of a 401k, where it's tax deferred. The thing is with an annuity, if it's a fixed annuity, there's no risk. And I should clarify, no market risk here. Meaning if the market goes down, often with fixed annuities, I won't see my value go down with it. So I'm protected from loss. That's a big point of attraction. Accessing the money before age 59 and a half. So like a 401k, this is still very limited. Because I transferred money from this 401k or IRA to the annuity, I still have the same IRS rules. Meaning, if I want to access it before age 59 and a half, I'm going to have to pay income tax on it, or after 59 and a half, I always have to pay income tax on it. But if it's before age 59 and a half, I still have to pay that 10% penalty tax to the IRS. In addition to that, if I want to access it early, the insurance company might hit me with some surrender fees as well. I'm going to go through an example in a little bit, but one of the big drawbacks to annuities for a lot of individuals is if I wanted to cash the annuity out early, I am going to see surrender fees. Sometimes they're referred to as surrender charges, and this is money that the insurance company would keep if I cashed the product out. That is in addition to the IRS rules, the IRS 10% penalty and the IRS taxes. That can hurt. So annuities are definitely a vehicle that I'm looking at from a long-term perspective. Does that make sense? Cool. And then down here, we do see if we really need or want to access some money, the insurance company will typically allow us to access up to 10% of whatever the account balance is per year without getting hit with any surrender fees. Now, those are surrender fees from the insurance company. If I take this 10% withdrawal before the age of 59 and a half, I'm still likely going to be hit with that 10% penalty from the IRS. So I just want to have awareness on these options that are available with any of these products. And then distributions from an annuity work the same as they do with a 401k, where I have to pay ordinary income tax on it. So that's what I have now, the old 401k, and we're pretending now I want an annuity. Let's have some fun. So here's how it would work. Let's pretend I've got an old IRA with 100 grand. I am going to transfer or roll that over to an annuity. On the transfer, there's no taxes. So now I have an annuity with $100,000 in it. All I did is just moved it from one place to another. So the types of annuities here, there's really two main options that we're looking at. Option A is a growth annuity. This means I'm looking at the account balance and I want to see it grow. Option B is an income annuity. With this option, I wouldn't really care about the growth, seeing the balance grow. What I'm interested in here is guaranteed monthly income. I like to refer to this as getting a rental property where you never have to pay any property taxes, you don't have to pay any insurances, you've got no costs associated with this property, and every single month, no matter what, your tenant is going to pay on time. Sound like a good deal? Yes. The drawback, however, is you can't access the equity in that rental property. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. So those are the two types of annuities, and let's look at an example here. So we've got a 65-year-old individual who's got $100,000 in an IRA, and he's interested in seeing these options. He actually has about $200K, but he wants to start with only $100,000 so he can get his feet wet and get comfortable with the product. So let's take a look here. We'll begin with option A, the growth annuity. So an illustration might look like this. A lot going on. Here's what I want to hit on. So he's 65 years old. As we look at this, the purchase payment, that's the amount we transferred from the old IRA in this particular example. So we transferred it over, and we see in the first year, he earned $9,000. His account value is now worth $109,000. But then we see the surrender value, just over $100,000. The surrender value represents what the insurance company would give him if he cashed the product out after the first year, after they assess their fees. We're going to show exactly what those fees are in a moment. The first thing I want to hit on is this growth annuity is referred to as an indexed annuity. So what that means, just at a very, very high level, is it's tied to the S&P 500 index. Not all indexed annuities are. This one is. And how it works is if the market goes up, your money goes up with it. And if the market goes down, your money does not go down, but you stay level. Your principal is protected. Now, this particular annuity has what is called a cap rate of 9%. What that means is if the S&P produces 20% one year, you are capped at 9%. So it's the most you can ever earn. That can be considered a drawback to some. However, on the upside is if the market produces negative 20%, what happens to your money? It's safe. So you can see the up years that occur here. First two, market went up. Third year, market went down, but he didn't lose any money. Make sense? So let's take a look at this on Excel. And this will give us the surrender fees. So what we've got here, firstly, is the transfer of $100,000. There's your contract value. There's the surrender value we just saw. There's what the fee comes out to. Now, this is a 7-year indexed annuity, and all that means is that the surrender fees last for 7 years. Are there any other fees, do you think, associated with this product? There are not. This particular annuity would be a fit for him if he said, I just want to grow my money safely. I'm comfortable with that 9% cap rate. That cap rate of 9%, by the way, with this particular product is guaranteed not to be reduced during the first 7 years. Some insurance companies play a little bait and switch where they start out with a high cap rate and then they slash it after a few years. So with the particular company and product we looked at, it's guaranteed for the first 7 years, which is nice. But if he's comfortable with that and he likes the idea of protecting his principal, and he said, hey, I'm probably not going to access this, or I know I'm not going to need it for the next 7 years, I just want to continue to grow it safely, that's where this might be an option. Let's progress on to the income annuity next. So the income annuity is an option if he said, I don't really care to see my balance grow, but I just want guaranteed income. So these are guaranteed rates. Now the rates have been updated with this product since running this illustration, but rates are always going to change with annuities. This is just meant to show you what it would look like. There's our 100K transfer. And here's what I want to look at. This guy. Guaranteed withdrawal payment. So what this shows is when I start to take income, let's say he starts to take income at the 5th year, he would get just about $12,000 per year, which is locked in forever. I'm going to pull up an Excel sheet that I think is a little bit more simple than this in a moment, but what this is showing is the guaranteed withdrawal payment that he will receive when he flips that income switch on. That income is guaranteed to last for the rest of his life, even if that account balance goes down to 0. So it doesn't matter how the account itself performs. What I'm looking at is the actual income payment. That's why I would be interested in this particular product. And if I die, the company does not keep my money. If there's a balance left, that will go to my beneficiary. So let's take a look at our income illustration, shall we? So here's what we've got. Let's begin with taking income immediately. So on the far left, what do we see here? We see income. If he puts 100 grand in now, he gets $724 per month for the rest of his life, forever, which comes out to a yearly amount of $8,600 and change. If he says, hey, I don't really need it right now, can I start to take it at 67, not 65? There we go. Well, he gets $860 per month for the rest of his life, which comes out to a little bit more than $10,000 per year. And if he says, hey, I want to wait until 70 years old, or I think I might wait that long, because you don't need to pick up front when you're going to start taking income, here we go. Comes out to a little bit more than $1,000 per month. So this annuity is a good option if he said, hey, my whole plan with this 100 grand is not to try and make it last forever and grow the balance just right and take out money only when I need it. No. What would really give me a lot of peace of mind is if that can just guarantee income for the rest of my life. So even after I've taken more than $100,000 here, after 10 years, he would have received $127,000, for example. Even after I've gotten my money back, I know that I continue to receive income for the rest of my life because it's guaranteed. That's why someone would gravitate toward this particular product. But overall, annuities can be good options. A lot of times we see individuals with old retirement accounts and they'll consider moving a portion, sometimes all of their qualified dollars into an annuity. It always depends on their situation and what other assets they have and such. But it can work well as a retirement strategy. What we like to do is always look at a before and after. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And as always, I hope this helps. Thanks so much.